Marian here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to catch up with you, relax, and chat with a little life update because you and me are due for a catch up. So let's get comfortable and let's talk. I first want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. I've worked with them. I'm trying to work here, people. I've shared a lot about BetterHelp on my channel before, and I have signed up for them as well. I absolutely love their service. They offer therapy in a convenient, flexible, and affordable way. So actually, this time around, I'm doing phone therapy. I'm doing telephone therapy. I've done Zoom before, and like they do video messages, all different kinds. But I really wanted to try phone call therapy this time around because you can walk and talk to your therapist. Like, I love going on walks. Anyways, I'm actually doing 2 a days these days, although camp starts so early, I'm not sure what to do about that. But that's an aside. Anyways, I just find going for a walk every day is the best thing for my mental health. And I was like, what if I combined the mental health of a walk with the mental health of a therapist? So I'll keep you guys updated on how that's going. But I want to catch up with you and talk to you guys about friendship, a friendship later in life, friendship in the mom era, and how therapy actually, for me, has like tied into all of that. But first, let me tell you more about BetterHelp and why I love them so much. I'll know that seeing a therapist is good for us, but some of us, myself included, just struggle to find the time, the means, and sometimes the funds to really stick to therapy. And that's what I love about BetterHelp. Their options are super convenient. You just go on their website, you can find a therapist that's licensed for where you're located, and then you have the flexibility to choose what type of person you want to work with and how you want to work with them, be it online, on the phone, even messaging them. And if you don't like the one you're first matched up with, you can switch, which I know is always a stressful thing for me. And therapy can just be so helpful through any sort of life transition and anything that you're struggling with. I know for me, I always minimize my problems and think like they're not that big a deal. But then I find when I actually work with a therapist, I benefit so much. Okay, so I want to share about my personal experience with friendship and just kind of chat with you guys about it. I get a lot of questions and I see this like kind of topic come up in conversation. The first one is like a little hill that I feel like I've kind of jumped over, and the next one is like a big kind of life mountain that I want to talk about. Also, the sun is going in and out, so I apologize for the lighting. Okay, so the little hill, which actually isn't so little when you're in the midst of it, is how to make mom friends when you are a first-time mom. And I've absolutely in my life noticed that when you first become a mom, and especially if you're the first in your kind of friend group to become a mom, it's really, really hard. Not that you lose your old friendships. I think it's like you maintain those friendships, but you really benefit from having other moms to be friends with. I cannot tell you the absolute village it takes to raise children, but part of that village is just the mental load, to share the mental load with somebody else. And that's not always a co-parent, because sometimes you need to complain about that co-parent. My husband is wonderful, but it's just so helpful to have another mom who's up all night nursing or whatever it is that you can ask those infinitely annoying questions to about what you should do with this and that situation, everything from those first feeds to potty training and all those little details, where it's just so incredibly helpful to hear other people's experience. And me and my husband joke that our favorite thing to do is when we're out with other couples and other families, is when other people's kids misbehave or they like share about their moms with their kids, because I'm always like, it's not just us. Because like when you are only with your kids, and we really experienced this in the pandemic, you don't realize how normal your kids actually are. Like all their behaviors and antics and tantrums, like it's so normal. And every kid's got their issues. But when you are only with your own kids and you compare to like what you see on social media or what you might have read in like a parenting book, you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Why is my kid not doing this or that, the other? And then you spend 5 minutes with a mom friend and their kid and you're like, oh, okay, everyone's kid's like this. So it just helps so, so much. And I do think, although it's great to keep your, OG crew, your original crew of friends, it does get harder to see them and make plans when you're all just in different eras of life. So I know for sure I felt that way at the beginning. Like I was one of the first in our groups to become a mom, and I just didn't want to leave the baby ever. So like I wanted someone who could come in the middle of the day and hang out with me. I didn't want to go out for fancy dinners and things like that. Like the last thing I felt like doing was getting dressed up and like pumping and figuring that all out. Now some people love that, some people transition totally fine with that, but personally for me, it was not that I didn't enjoy those friends as much, but I wasn't as into the activities we used to do together, and I was really craving help from people who kind of had experienced it. So the little hill, like I was saying, was how to make mom friends. And this is my honest opinion, okay? I think the best place to make mom friends is at preschool. The downside of that is most kids don't start preschool until they're about 2. But for us, really, like for me, my best mom friends came from our preschool community. And before that, I did do like baby classes and things like that, but I never really connected that much with those moms. I did a little bit here and there. It was nice to like have activities and people to talk to, but I didn't make my true friends from those groups. Some people do. In the DC area, there's a group called PACE for First Times Moms, and I know a lot of people connect with moms there. There's also like mom workout classes called Stroller Strides in our area. And then we used to have a group that I did called Mama's Link, and that was a really fun one. And again, like it was a hugely helpful support, but I didn't make my good friends. Preschool, I feel like you are all in the same life stage. You're all like, you're just really in it together, and you have this like bonding thing with drop off and pick up every single day. And I think we started doing, my 2-year-olds always did a half-day, 3-day-a-week program. So I was in a class with other moms who were on like the kind of same schedule as I did, which meant they kind of naturally just worked similar jobs, not similar jobs. I haven't made friends with other influencers in my mom group yet, although I have made them online. But no, but just like similar kind of work schedules, or they weren't working or things like that. So we would like go for coffee, and then we would have play dates and things like that. And naturally the community just formed. So that was the little hill of like actually how do you make the mom friends? For us, it was through our preschool. And then in the meantime, until we got to that preschool stage, it did help to just chat with the moms at classes and things like that. But for me personally, it didn't really happen until preschool. Okay, and I want to get into kind of like the more emotional heavyweight of this topic, which is like, how do you really make good friends and how to kind of avoid some of the friend drama. And it was really interesting. I was talking to my mother-in-law about friendships, and how I said to her, I was like, do you think friendship is different at your age than at my age? And she was saying how like you don't need your friends as much for that like villagey type of aspect, you know, to complain about the potty training and that sort of thing. But she was saying that like friendship is kind of the same as it is. And I'm really curious about that, like how friendships kind of evolve over time. But the reason I mention that is because I think that although it gets better from like middle school and high school, there is still always kind of some of that similar themes and dramas that girls just have. I think personally I'm at a stage where there's not much friend drama going on, which I'm very excited about. But I always think that there's like certain themes that always kind of come up with friendships. One is not being able to get like really close to someone, not being able to kind of break into that next level of really deep friendship. And the second is feeling excluded or having FOMO. So this is kind of how I play it. So I have a like big group of friends, and then I have like a smaller, more close-knit friends, but it's very interwoven in a very non-dramatic way, in the sense that like we all know each other and everyone is included. So things like I have a book club that if someone's like wants to join, they're welcome to join. We often will do like a night out with other couples kind of thing, where it's like everyone will just come to a bar or something like that and everyone's invited. Birthday parties for kids, absolutely everyone's invited, that sort of thing. And then we have more like, you know, closer friends, girls' nights, that kind of thing. But whenever I hear that somebody felt left out, well, first of all, we try not to leave anyone out and make sure everyone's included, but I always say to that person, like maybe not directly, but I always like think this: if you feel left out and you feel like you can't get close to people because you're not being included, I would say, when did you invite them out? So, for example, for me, I am often the person who is arranging the social outing, whether it's just coffee or dinner or whatever it is. And I often am saying, like, being the first to text, being like, how about this date? Let's go. So I can think of multiple kind of situations where I always am the one to kind of get things going because I really love hanging out with them. It's such a valuable, important part of my life. And this is kind of ties into therapy also, because when I spoke to my therapist about like changing perspectives, she really helped me with this kind of whole life philosophy that instead of waiting around for someone to invite you and then feeling excluded, and some people always get included, right? There's always like that girl that gets invited to everything and she never has to do anything, right? But instead of feeling like, oh, well, if I had to invite them, it somehow doesn't count. Like, people are busy, nobody cares. If you have the energy and idea to send that first text and set that date or propose the idea, just do it. And if there's someone you want to hang out with, just do it. Just make that first step. Something that I absolutely love also is hosting. And I feel like that's also a really good way to elevate a friendship. When you invite somebody into your home, whether it's like two families over for dinner or just a girlfriend to catch up, have some coffee, whatever it is, I feel like it's just more intimate when you're in your home. So I think it's really nice to invite people over, and that's something you can do. Like, you don't have to kind of sit around and wait for someone else to invite you, kind of thing. You know, like, you set up the play date, you invite the other mom over, invite them to stay, that sort of thing. And I think for me, therapy was really helpful in not having that kind of chip on your shoulder, like, oh, I don't get included. You know, people are hanging out without me, or, you know, I sent the last text, that sort of thing. Just like, if you want to view life in that way, there will always be examples to prove yourself right, but it's not going to feel good in the end. And something that I also learned from therapy is there is a price to pay for socializing, okay? Hear me out on this. Nobody is perfect. Nobody's social interactions are perfect. So inevitably, anytime you participate in a social activity, someone's gonna say something that might rub you the wrong way. Someone might say something that like triggers you or hurts your feelings or something like that, right? And even if it's like your best friend or friends you've known forever, someone's always gonna say something, because that's human nature. Nobody is perfectly attuned to what you are thinking and feeling at all times. Now, I'm not saying you should hang out with people that like constantly disregard your feelings if they say things that upset you. I'm just saying the price for social interaction is that it's not always going to be the smooth, perfect thing. But in the end, like, you might have a great time, but there might be that one comment that you're like, oh yeah, like when she said that, I just didn't really like that. But my perspective shift on that, and through therapy that has really helped me, is to accept and know that that price is worth it, that it's absolutely worth it to have that little pain point of like not everyone behaving exactly perfectly as you wish they would for the social interaction. Because as we've all seen, like, there's been so many studies about this, friendship and social interaction truly saves lives, and it is just so important for our mental health. But it's easy to stay home, right? It's so easy to stay home and do nothing these days. Like, everything you could ever want to entertain you is right here in your hands. So why would you leave the comfort of your own home? But we know that the social interactions in the end are worth it, but you have to accept that little price, that little inconvenience, or that little, kind of hurt feeling once in a while that might happen when someone doesn't, perfectly do exactly what you want them to do, but that it's worth it, if that makes sense. So that is my life philosophy with friendship, and I feel like it has really, really helped me and benefited me, and I'm very thankful to BetterHelp and therapists for kind of helping me see friendships in a new way and giving me those kind of life philosophies to hold on to. one of my favorite influencers, Tinks, Christina, she always talks about this idea of let them, which is another one that I kind of applied to my friendships, which is like, if somebody is like, you know, doing whatever that you don't, just let them. Let them. I find this with like parenting too. Like, people often do things with their kids, so I'm like, oh, they're doing it wrong. Let them, let them. Like, don't get upset over every little thing, or you're not gonna have friends, because no friend is perfect in every single way. Okay, anyways, so thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. I hope I've given you some helpful perspective shifts. If you need real help from a licensed professional, definitely check them out. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below, and I'll try to respond to them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a big thumbs up if you like it. Hit that red subscribe button to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.